Beneath the surface of our oceans lives a creature that defies the very concept of life and death. It has no heart, no brain, no complex nervous system, and yet it holds the secret that has eluded humanity for millennia: biological immortality. Meet Turritopsis dohrnii, better known as the immortal jellyfish. This tiny, translucent marvel can literally reverse its own aging process. But how does it do it? And what does it mean for the future of science, and even for us? At first glance, Turritopsis dohrnii doesn't look like much. It's smaller than your fingernail, just about 4 to 5 millimeters wide. Found in warm and temperate waters around the globe, it drifts unnoticed by most oceangoers. But what it lacks in size, it makes up for in sheer biological brilliance. Unlike nearly every other animal on Earth, this jellyfish has discovered a bizarre loophole in nature's code. When faced with stress, injury, starvation, or even old age, it doesn't die. Instead, it transforms. To understand this marvel, we need to look at the jellyfish life cycle. Most jellyfish start as a fertilized egg, develop into a free-swimming larva, then into a polyp, like a tiny sea anemone, attached to a surface. Eventually, that polyp buds off into the familiar bell-shaped medusa we recognize as a jellyfish. But Turritopsis dohrnii is different. When it senses a threat to its survival, it reverses its life cycle. The adult medusa turns back into a polyp. It's not just growing younger, it's becoming young again. It's like a butterfly turning back into a caterpillar, and doing it again and again. This process is called transdifferentiation. It's incredibly rare. In humans, once a skin cell is a skin cell, that's all it ever is. But in Turritopsis, cells can change type entirely. A nerve cell can become a muscle cell. A reproductive cell can turn into a feeding one. Its entire body reorganizes itself. It's as if the jellyfish hits a biological reset button. Now let's be clear, Turritopsis dohrnii isn't invincible. It can still be eaten, it can be poisoned, it can get caught in a net or fall prey to infection. Immortality doesn't mean invulnerability. But when it comes to aging, when it comes to the slow, inevitable decline that ends all other lives, this jellyfish has found a way around it. In carefully controlled environments, scientists have watched it rejuvenate itself repeatedly. No known individual has ever died of old age. So yes, in biological terms, this jellyfish is immortal. But why don't we hear more about it? For one, it's hard to study. It's tiny, fragile, and requires very specific water conditions to survive in a lab. Many attempts to raise it in captivity have failed. And second, it doesn't exactly look like a superhero. It's not glowing, it doesn't fight off predators with lasers. It just drifts, quietly cheating death in the shadows of the sea. Still, its potential impact is enormous. If scientists can fully understand how this jellyfish reverses cellular aging, we might apply that knowledge to human biology. Imagine regenerating damaged tissue, reversing signs of aging, healing from injuries in ways we never thought possible. It could change how we approach medicine, longevity, even space travel. In the great catalog of life on Earth, death has always been the final chapter. It doesn't matter if you're a mayfly with 24 hours to live or a Galapagos tortoise that might see 150 summers. Eventually, time wins. But deep beneath the waves, there's a creature that quietly ignores that rule. Not by conquering time, not by stopping it, but by slipping out of it entirely. Turritopsis dohrnii, the so-called immortal jellyfish, isn't just an evolutionary oddity. It's a biological paradox, a small, nearly invisible being that breaks one of the few laws life has always obeyed. It doesn't age, it doesn't deteriorate, and when threatened by death, it simply refuses. But to understand why this jellyfish matters, we have to ask a bigger question. What if aging is not a necessity, but a design flaw? To biologists, aging is a compromise. Nature doesn't intend for organisms to die from old age. It's just that evolution doesn't prioritize what happens after reproduction. In a way, aging is a side effect of nature not caring anymore. But Turritopsis dohrnii seems to reject that. Rather than collapsing, its cells reroute their destiny. Its DNA doesn't just copy itself, it adapts. It doesn't accumulate damage the way we do. Instead, it reprograms itself one cell at a time into something young again. And here's the fascinating twist. Its ability may not be a rare invention, but a forgotten inheritance. In the earliest chapters of life on Earth, single-celled organisms didn't age. They divided, split, and continued. In a way, they still exist today through endless copies. Some scientists believe immortality was the default, and aging came later. Could the immortal jellyfish be a window into that forgotten past? This species isn't ancient, by the way. Turritopsis dohrnii was only identified in the 1880s. Its unique powers? Those weren't discovered until the 1990s, over a century later, almost by accident. A German marine biologist was studying jellyfish behavior in a lab in Italy when he noticed something odd. A mature jellyfish didn't die. It changed. It shrank, its cells reorganized, and before long it had returned to its juvenile state. This wasn't a glitch, this was a pattern. Unlike many of its cousins, Turritopsis dohrnii is not a relic of the deep sea. It's actually spreading across oceans, attached to ships, riding currents, surviving in new waters. It's a quiet invader, not just surviving but thriving globally. And still, we barely understand it. We don't know how many times it can rejuvenate. We don't know what triggers the transformation in every case, and we have yet to sequence its genome completely. But what we do know is this: it doesn't fight death, it evades it. Think of what that means. When humans fight aging, we think of creams, surgeries, supplements. We treat the symptoms of age like rust on metal. But Turritopsis doesn't repair age. It ignores it. It simply stops being old. It transforms into something that was never damaged to begin with. That's not healing, that's rebirth. The deeper scientists look, the more they believe this jellyfish could help unlock tools for regenerative medicine. Imagine reprogramming damaged cells after a stroke. Imagine resetting a liver ravaged by disease. Imagine halting the cellular decay that causes dementia. Not curing symptoms, restoring identity. We're beginning to do this in labs, with human stem cells. But this jellyfish, it's been doing it naturally for thousands of years. Here's where it gets philosophical. If we could learn to do this, would we want to? Would we erase the experience of aging if we could? Would we choose to start over when we fail, rather than grow from the fallout? The immortal jellyfish doesn't grow old. It doesn't learn or remember or evolve its identity. It resets. Again and again. Each life cycle is a clean slate. No memories, no progress, just a loop of survival. Maybe that's why nature didn't give this power to creatures with consciousness. Because immortality without meaning is just repetition. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed diving into this strange corner of the natural world, make sure to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who loves the weird side of science. More incredible creatures are just an episode away. Until then, stay curious.